Hey guys, it's Sarah with AmericanMuscle.com, and today we have a review and install of the SR Performance axle back exhaust fitting your 2005 through 2010 V6 Mustang. This exhaust is perfect for the Mustang owner who's looking to wake up the sound of their V6 but doesn't want one that's too over the top. This exhaust features aluminized steel construction with 3-inch piping and a 4-inch slant cut polished tip. It improves your exhaust flow thanks to its straight through muffler design. I'm giving this axle back option a 3 out of 5 on the loudness meter. Now you guys know no exhaust is going to make a V6 sound like a V8, but this option definitely wakes up the sound of your Mustang. It gives it a louder and a little bit deeper tone without being overpowering. So as far as price goes, this one comes in at around $175, making it the most budget-friendly option for axle backs for your Mustang. I'm giving this install a 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. It features a direct bolt-up install with no cutting required and can be done within 2 hours. So with that said, let's jump into our install. For this install, you will need an impact gun or ratchet, 15, 14, and 13 millimeter sockets, an 8 millimeter Allen key or Allen socket, and 13 millimeter wrenches. You may also want some PB Blaster to help out with the install. Alright, so the first step in our uninstall is we're going to grab a 14 millimeter socket and remove the clamp that's holding on our axle back. Now keep in mind, depending on when you last drove your car, this exhaust might be hot, so wear gloves or wait for it to cool down. Alright, so we did spray a little PB Blaster on the clamp because it does look pretty rusty, and that's definitely not going to hurt in order to get it loose. Grab a 14 millimeter socket, and you may want an extension here, and go ahead and loosen this clamp. Alright, so there's 2 options when it comes to removing the hanger. You can either use a hanger removal tool or a pry bar to remove this post from the rubber hanger itself, or we can remove these 2 13 millimeter bolts that hold the hanger onto the Mustang. So let's grab a 13 millimeter socket, and we're going to remove these bolts. Next up, you can go for the second 13 millimeter bolt, and you're probably going to need a wrench or ratcheting wrench for this one. So with this hanger release, there is one more hanger up top here that you can't see. Hopefully we can pull down on the muffler and get it off the pipe and then out of the other hanger. So the first thing we're going to do is grab onto this muffler and pull down. You may need to wiggle this. All right, so this hanger is pretty bottomed out. I don't think we're going to get the muffler off of our pipe, but the good news is we've now exposed the 2 bolts that are holding on this hanger. So we're going to remove those using a 13 millimeter ratcheting wrench. All right, so with the first bolt out, we can now remove the second and final bolt holding on this hanger with a 13 millimeter ratcheting wrench. Now just keep in mind, this is the last thing that's holding your exhaust on. And once you get this loose, it will likely just want to come right off, so be ready. All right, so it slid off the end of our pipe. Slide it out of our hanger here and take it off the Mustang. All right, so now that we have our factory exhaust uninstalled from our Mustang, we can check it out side by side with our SR Performance exhaust. Now these are both aluminized steel. However, the SR Performance exhaust is a little bit larger pipe-wise than the factory. The piping is 3-inch where the factory is 2.5, and the tip comes in at 4 inches to the factory 3. This isn't going to make much of a difference, but it definitely is worth noting. Finally, as you can see, the muffler is quite a bit smaller, which is definitely going to get us some improved sound out of this Mustang. All right, so before we get this exhaust on the Mustang, we do want to attach these hangers now. It will be a little bit easier than trying to do it on the car. Make sure that you're attaching them in the proper orientation. This top one should look like this. Right about there should sit on the frame of the car. Now this next one is opposite, so it should go on like this. We can still rotate these to sit perfect. Just make sure they're facing the proper direction. All right, let's get this on the car. All right, at this point you can install the clamp and just run it up the piping for now, just out of the way so it's there when the exhaust is in place. Line up the piping with your new exhaust. All right, with the piping installed, go ahead and line up the clamps with the bolt holes that you removed earlier. Go ahead and line up the second bolt hole on the same hanger. We're just going to install these loosely for now until we line up all the hangers. Go ahead and install the bolts in the other clamp. All right, now you can grab your 13mm wrench and tighten it down. All right, we're going to use an open-end wrench on this one. It's a little tougher to get to with the muffler in place, but the wrench can still do the trick. All right, grab your ratcheting wrench and we're going to tighten up these last two bolts for our hanger. And we can actually get a socket on this one. So we're going to grab a 13mm socket and tighten it down. With the hangers bolted down, you can grab your clamp and work it over top of your pipe. You want to rotate it so that the metal piece inside the clamp is evenly distributed on top of one of the ears. It's not, in the middle, just so it can get a good clamp down. And also make sure it's lined up with the edge here, nice and even. Then we're going to grab a 15mm socket and tighten this down. All right, so finally we can install the tip. Go ahead and work it over the end of your exhaust. And there is a good amount of adjustability here, so you want to make sure it's nice and lined up. And grab an 8mm Allen key or Allen socket and tighten down the bolt at the top of your tip. All right, so that is going to do it for the review and install of this SR Performance exhaust. Remember, for all things Mustang, keep it at AmericanMuscle.com.